Hello. Morning. How's everyone? Can you hear me okay? I don't know, this morning I've been dealing with some technical issues. Don't know what's going on with my live system. Morning Trends, how are you? Good? Just gonna give it a minute quickly. How's your day been? I'm not gonna lie, my day's been hectic and it's only 9 a.m. which is fantastic, I guess. Right. Let me just get this sorted. Right, can you hear me all good? Okay, all good. Right, that's fine. Right, let's just jump into it because I can't do a long one today. So I'm just going to quickly breeze through what I think. If you've got any questions, just let me know, alright? Right, so first thing first, we're going to start off with the DXY. Right, let me rebuild this. Okay, so if you remember from yesterday, I was looking for price to basically either come back into these lows, basically where we have these relative equal lows, right, which are still pretty much intact. Can you give me your view on ETH, please? Yeah, I'm gonna go over ETH in a moment. Right, let me quickly cover this. Okay, DXY. So we've basically taken off this high. We haven't seen a 4-hour candle closure above 99.6, which is what I wanted to see. So I'm being a bit more cautionate because, again, right, given that we did take out these internal equal lows here, right, so structure is still technically intact, right, just shows that prices so mitigated this level. Now I'm just waiting for a trigger, seeing that we see a clean break above 99.6. all right. Yeah, I just want to see prices sort of trend above, break above, so that consolidating, and then I think we should see a nice squeeze on the DXY into that monthly open on 99.8, and that should give us some weakness across USD majors. All right, so let me go over to EU. Right, so EU did not come into that monthly, that Monday open I was looking for. Where is it? Right, weekly Monday open are here basically. Right, this is where the Monday open is as well. Price just basically took that internal high here, so we're basically seeing that sort of all that internal liquidity taken. So stop raid, basically looking like price is, given that we see the DXY break above 99.6, I think we should see a I think we should be able to see a push down into 1.157 today, right? My first zone, I think these polos here will likely be targeted, and then price will likely come into this zone. Now this zone I could look for potential rebound plays, right, if we see a push back into this level, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the Monday low. So we're still yet to take out that Monday low, but I am looking for a short play here if we do see a pullback into this key level here, right? If I map it out like this, right, into this level here, I think as long as this Monday low is not taken, which I don't think is will be the case soon, but if that is the case, if we see a pullback into the 1.156, then I'll look for shorts into a 1.157. All right, in terms of intraday wise. Okay, does that make sense? Right, let me push over to gold. Now, this morning, again, I was a bit busy this morning, but I did end up missing this long here on gold. I highlighted, as I said, this is the monthly open. I wanted to see a tap. It just front ran the monthly open. Okay, but if you look on the hourly, right, let me get rid of all this shit. I did ideally want to see price push up into this zone here, but you can see that price is still very much the momentum was on to the downside. Okay, you could just see there's sort of liquidity above here too, but let me go on 30-minute quick. My zones. Right, you'll see that basically missed this long opportunity where we had one tap, two tap, right, straight after Monday low and previous week low taken. The way I would have taken this position is after that reclaim of the Monday low into London Open, and as soon as I saw these lows here hold, right, given that we had a BOS here and another BOS here, I would have looked to get involved. This is given that I missed my London Open. I would have looked for a opportunity as soon as we broke above invalidation below this low, right, to target the Monday or the daily open, right. But I'm still looking, because I think we're likely gonna see some sort of pullback. If we see a pullback back into the 4,000 level, is a round figure as well, I would like to look for longs on gold on the high time frame. Okay, again, this zone here looks like it's holding quite nicely, right, and we have sort of this double bottom structure here looking out. Given that even if we hold above the daily open, I may look for a lower time frame entries to see a push back above a weekly open, and then potentially a rotation back into Monday high. Okay, if that makes sense. But for now, I'm just waiting to see some sort of pullback on the lower time frame. All right, does that make sense? I'm not gonna make today's live stream too long. I wanna, get things be concise. But if you have any questions, just ask me now on gold before I move over to crypto. Let me map out this as well. We have one tap, two tap, and a third tap, right? Taking out that Monday low, previous week low, and then a clean reclaim, showing that buyers in charge. This external breaker structure gives you that clear intent that price is ready to potentially target that daily open. Okay. Right. In terms of now, if we see price fail off the daily open, I'd look for a potential pullback into 4K region. This is one zone I like. Potentially even this zone here, if that makes sense, something like that. And then you can look for continuation plays into the weekly open. All right. Right, BTC. Now, this was the only position I did take. Yesterday, did catch a long on BTC. Yesterday, what was it, on the 1 hour? So if you recall from yesterday's analysis, right, I did say I wanted to see a reaction from this particular level, which was 94K region. I did refine the zone a little bit. Did end up taking a long from here at this particular level. As soon as price broke above previous Monday high, which was this was the previous Monday high, this is the now Monday high, I moved my stops to break even. I'll just show you here. You see I entered that at 9417. That was my entry, and then as soon as price broke previous Monday high, right, I moved my stops to break even here. So yeah, my stops were a little inflated just because of how fast price came down. I wanted to give it some room to breathe, and then as you can see, we had a clear rejection, and price just fucked right down, right? There's a lot of selling momentum on BTC, so I was careful of that. That's why I moved my stops to BE, which was a break even. But in terms of now, what I'm seeing, right, price, I did mention this. I said if price breaks below the yearly open, then we're likely just going to see a windfall down. Now, we have actually taken that CME gap, which I was waiting for. Ideally, I was expecting a bounce first, but we have filled that CME gap now. So in terms of intent, right, high time frame intent is now fulfilled. Okay, so this is an important place for buyers to actually step in now. Okay, because let me move this. Right, CME gaps all taken now. So again, with that rejection, taking that basically the previous range mid again, and the previous Monday day high. If I mark up the levels like this, right, all that weakness shows me that there's clearly a big player that's offloading their positions, right? And I think as soon as they stop, I think we'll see a nice long position. But for now, I'm not seeing an opportunity unless we see a clean reclaim of Monday low today, end day. Don't know what the hell that was. Sorry. If we see a clean reclaim of Monday day low, right, and this Monday low holds, okay, I'd wait. Even then, I'd wait, just because of how aggressive this bearish push has been twice, right? We've basically had. Let me show it out like this. Okay, we've had a leg down, consolidation. It's given no bounce, and then a second leg down. Okay, now there is going to be a bounce soon enough, but I rather wait for more confirmations than just jumping the gun here. In terms of today, again, I want to see if longs are on the card. I want to see price reclaim the Monday low and then break into that daily open and hold here into New York session. Okay, because even this long I took at pre-New York Open. That's how I usually like to take my positions, just before New York. All right, but yeah, that's the only long opportunity I'm seeing on BTC. Other than that, I think every little small pump here, right, especially into the yearly open, is for shorting, because I think we're likely just going to chop. I think we're going to see lows taken, highs taken, and a continuous chop, which is a good thing because it will show that buyers are slowly stepping in. But again, we need to see that sort of PA first, because all we're seeing is aggressive selling, and if we're seeing aggressive selling, I don't want to force the buy button. Okay, even that long I took yesterday, it was a good level, right? But we didn't break any structure eternally. We just took the previous Monday day high. Now this is the new Monday high, and this is the new Monday low, right? Which we've now cleared out. But I want to see price reclaim that Monday range first for me to even be interested in any longs. In terms of what I'm saying, high time frame, let me go on my other BTC chart quickly. Do you guys have any questions? I'm gonna go over BTC and ETH in a second, don't worry. But if I go over ETH, you'll see what I mean. 1 second. For me, in particular, what I'm looking at right now. Shit, this chart is quite messy. Me personally, I don't see a bottoming occur until 88k, right? I think this is a important value area low. Even with this range here, right? We have this value area high, which I marked out here, value area low. So I think we're likely going to see some sort of another flush down here. I think maybe today or tomorrow, and then Thursday I think is when we'll see the actual reversal, because again, you have to remember this, time is very important, and in terms of time cycles in market, it's very important you understand Thursdays, usually late Wednesdays and Thursdays is when you see midweek reversal. So if price is normally bearish coming into the start of the week, right, Wednesday or Thursday is when you look for reversals, as that's where usually reversals take place. So that's why I'm more confident in looking for longs tomorrow. I think this PA is likely going to continue, right, until 88k before we see some sort of bottoming out structure, and I think that's when we're going to see a bounce into that yearly level. Now, if we reclaim that yearly level, then it'll be a good sign for bulls to look to step back in. But I think what we're likely going to see is some sort of rejection of the yearly level and some sort of range occur between the 85s and the 93s. But that's a good sign. As long as we range in this level, right? I think it's a good sign that buyers are looking to step back in soon enough. The video earnings start tomorrow's 2 or on Thursday. Okay, so yeah, that will give us a bit of extra confluence as well for tomorrow. So that's why I'm looking for tomorrow, Thursday, for my main position. I did take a position yesterday just because my analysis, my plan came to fruition. But again, I'd rather wait until time lines up. Now, in terms of Wednesday, we do have FOMC today, so I'm going to be a bit cautious. I don't think we're going to see much volume today during New York. But again, tomorrow. But I'm going to keep an eye on that. Hopefully I do a live stream tomorrow as well. But today we don't have any big news. Tomorrow for GBP we do have some CPI. Thursday obviously is the main day. So we have NFP, we have hourly, weekly earnings, unemployment rate, which a lot of people have been waiting for this data. And now that the government's the US government at least is opening up again, I think that's when we're going to see a lot of volume. So Thursday is definitely going to be a big trading day for me in particular. So I'm going to make sure I go live extra early, and I'll make sure I do a longer session on Thursday. If you guys want, just let me know. I will be traveling actually, so I think I do have to fly out today evening, but I will take my laptop with me, so I will hopefully go live for you guys if you guys want. Right, let me get back to it. Yeah, so that's basically the plan. Hopefully into Wednesday, Thursday, we see a bottoming out structure occur. But in terms of lower time frames, if Monday low is not reclaimed, then right, it's all shorts. Okay, it's all shorts for me. Right, if we see a pullback into that daily open and we see bearish order flow like that, right, on the lower time frame, then I think we should clearly see intraday lows target this pull low here, and the main target will be 88k for me. Okay, and I think there from there we'll see a sort of bottoming out structure for longs. Okay, that's where I'm gonna take a hopefully a good size long from this level. Right, I'm not confident in longs here. I just prefer trading with the trend here, because this range again showed absolute no structure break to the upside. We just tested the mid of that range, liquefied the previous high, right? You'll see here, right? And then just straight bearish momentum. So this is all order flow, right? High, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, so waiting for that next series of lower high to come in. If we come into that yearly level today, I doubt it, but if we do, then it should be again easy shorts down to 88k. Okay, yes to the longer session on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday I think is going to be a good live stream, hopefully. Right, does that make sense? Okay, want to see a rejection and order flow of the daily today for shorts, again aligning with New York session. Okay, that's how I'm looking to trade this position. And then if we see a pump into New York, then again confluent with my analysis, I'm looking for shorts off the yearly level, because if I quickly show this, one of the reasons I did like that long I took, let me show you again. One of the reasons I did like that long is because when price actually pushed down, right, that was pre-New York. Okay, and one of the things you'll realize is into early New York session, right, you usually have let's say for this example yesterday it was bearish price action. That is normally a manipulative move, and then into New York session you usually see a reversal, right? That's usually what you see in New York. So that's another confluent I do like to add in terms of timing. So that's another reason why I took that long. Again, I moved my stops to break even, mainly because I didn't like how price was reacting. Okay, should have taken partials, but it is what it is. Right, does that make sense before I move on? Right, I'm gonna move over to ETH then, if there's no questions. Right, ETH as well. There, think there was a long opportunity. I did actually miss the ETH long, which was here. But again, it would have been the same scenario where I would have just been stopped out at break even. I was off the chart, so I only was able to take BTC, but in essence, my day was the same. If you see a bounce into my refine level, which it did come into at 3,100 exactly, and then we saw that bounce. However, you could see here, let me clear off this quickly. I'm gonna refine this zone down to where the level was here. Let's get rid of all this. I'm gonna cover current ETH PA in a second. What we end up seeing, all right, Monday high was intact for ETH, which actually shows me that ETH PA is actually strength is stronger. BTC is a lot more weaker than ETH. So in terms of longs, I think ETH is definitely a better option. But anyway, what you see here, right? Monday highs was still very much intact. If I push on the lower time frame, again, what we saw here, right, was price came into that previous supply zone, right, order book, whatever you want to call it. And then what do we have here, right? We have clean distribution. Okay, right, price 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We have clear cut distribution. I mentioned this yesterday. It was when you have sort of a curvature like that in price, right? Something like that, it's usually a good indication of distribution, and the same the other way, right? Of accumulation, right? Distribution, accumulation. But usually that's what you want to see. And given that price didn't break above, trade above it, just straight rejected back below that range mid, shows that there's clear lot of selling momentum in price. Okay, so in terms of ETH, what I'm seeing now is, right, we've taken out the low, but if you compare it to BTC PA, right, BTC is a lot weaker. ETH is still at, if you look, it's still at that 3K level, that psychological level, right, which I mapped out yesterday. Okay, it's still trading around that level. Now, confluent with BTC is, if I move this here, right, we saw that reaction from my level, pushed up, Monday high still intact. Now Monday low is taken here. Okay, ideally, again, for a similar reaction for longs today, right, is if we come into this level here and hold. I think if we hold this low and then reclaim the daily, I think we'll likely see a rotation back into weekly open, and then weekly open holds, then that'll be a clear rotation back into Monday highs, I think. But given how weak BTC is, I think we're likely just going to chop today, at least on ETH, right? If we see some sort of push up into weekly open and then a clear rejection, I'd prefer to take shorts. But again, I wouldn't recommend taking shorts on ETH. I think BTC is the better alternative, as I highlighted. It's just weaker. But in terms of PA, that's currently what I'm seeing, if that makes sense. Okay. Get rid of all these drawings. Right, I want to see, ideally for shorts, is a push into that weekly open and a clear rejection. A lower time frame confirmations is what will show me that price is ready to come back and take out, or at least retest these lows, at least. Okay, because that is the Monday low. But in terms of high time frame bounces, I still think we will tap into that $2,800 level. Trend, any question? I know you want me to cover ETH. Is there anything you particularly want me to cover? Let me just go with the high time frame. In terms of high time frame, right, my main zone for ETH buys is that $2,800 level into that $2,600 level. I think that's where price will likely bottom. This is an early analysis I made a few months ago, right? When price was breaking out when price was breaking out here, I did actually share this with the team. But in essence, what we're basically seeing, right? Again, look, I've mentioned this before. Price took out the low, price took out the high, and then the real move was made. Now all we're seeing is a retracement. In terms of higher time frame perspective, if I get rid of everything, in terms of higher time frame perspective, all we're doing is retracing, okay? But again, I'd prefer for bounces to come in, because when you're seeing a pullback, you ideally want to see, you know, buyers stepping in, right? If it's just slow selling like that, that is not what you want to be seeing, right? But in terms of a pullback from a high time frame perspective, everything looks fine, okay? Ideally, my optimal zones will be 26, and then again the 28 $100 region. Looks like we have the same view. Okay, I'm looking for the same range. If we lose that range, I generally think we'll go to $700. Yeah, I think if we lose $2,700 and start trading below it like that, I do think we're gonna likely come out, take out these lows at 2,000, and yeah, from there, God knows, anything can happen. I think if that does happen, then we'll likely see a rotation back into range lows. I think range lows will probably offer some sort of bounce, and then from there, I think we'll likely just bear market territory, I think. But I genuinely don't think that's what's going to happen. I think the market is taking out all the weak hands. But again, I prefer to react from current levels. But just in terms of perspective, if I highlight this, price is in a POI of mine that I had mapped out a few months ago. But again, I'm only going to be interested in longs is if we break above these highs here, right? That's the only way I'm gonna, in terms of higher time frame perspective. Intraday wise, we can trade, right? Or we can trade the liquidity runs on the higher time frame, lower time frame. But this is the only way I actually see it. If order flow is building up into that yearly level, we're likely going to see some sort of expansion rotation back into 37s. Okay. Otherwise, it's better to just wait. I think Thursday is where we're going to see most of the momentum. Wednesday and Thursday. Remember, Wednesday we have FOMC. So what I think could happen, this is just a theory of mine, is on Wednesday we have FOMC, right? I think we could likely see that Fed Powell will leave rates unchanged or something, and he'll make some negative comments which will, cause a negative push on price, right? Risk assets will be sold off. And then I think Thursday, when we see all that data come out, is when we'll likely see a reversal. I think that's what we're like. This is a theory of mine. This is what I'm looking for, right? If we see a negative FOMC and we see extra sell-off pressure, remember we're extended selling off, right? We continuously sell off. So, buyers do have to step in, right? The market needs an equilibrium to trade on. So I think if we do see that extended sell-off pressure into that 28, then I'll become very, very bullish. I'll become aggressively buying in terms of perpetual futures. I mean, okay, into because I think we'll likely see some sort of rebound, right? At least into that yearly level. That's if we see what I just highlighted, right? If that makes sense, guys. Right, any questions? I'll even actually, let me go over the other chart. Let me just go over to current PA because what I'm seeing now. This. Right, 15. Right, so that psychological level, right? I'd mapped out, which is, let me map it out exactly, so it's just easier to see. 3K. Right, 3K, right? This is that psychological level, exactly 3K. Price is holding this level, which is a very good sign. But again, we need to see a reclaim above 31, basically where that weekly level is. If that weekly level holds, then we'll likely see a push back into Monday, previous range mid. Okay, but this is where we're going to likely see a lot of sell pressure, right? Because this is basically where that distribution took place, where I highlighted before. If you can see all that curvature distribution, and we had a clean retest. So there is clear enough sell orders at this level. So at some point, we're likely going to see some sort of bearish reaction from this level. So I think this would, if we do see a reclaim or push into this level, preferably into New York session, then I will look to get on the short side here, right? If that's what we see and validation is that high, and then again I'll just look to trade back into that 3K region, right? I'm just looking to play this choppy range, but again, in terms of PA, I'm being a bit careful today, because after yesterday's PA, it is price has been very on the choppy side of things. No worry, Trends, have a good day, mate. Right, I'm gonna leave the live stream here. If there's any questions, just let me know now before I actually hop off. Don't worry, on Thursday I'm gonna be doing a longer session. I may even go over alts, because that's gonna take me a while to go over actual alts. But is there any questions anyone has before I step off? Just let me know now. But today, again, the only setup I'm looking for is gold. I do like gold, and I am looking actively for gold longs, ideally into New York Open. But if we reclaim that daily open and hold, then I'll be looking for lower time frame entries. Ideally, I want to see a push back into one of these levels at 4,020 and 4,000. All right, no worries, mate. Have a good one. All right, guys, that's me off. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow, or if not Thursday. All right, cheers, guys. Bye.